welcome back to a brand new part 2 episode of the Grand Adventures of Baldurs Gate 3. What's up, everybody?
New name of the podcast.
New name of the podcast. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Who What Now podcast, the show for consumers by consumers, where we ask the questions: who are you? What got you into Baldurs Gate 3? And where are you playing Baldurs Gate 3 right now as we speak in this very moment? I am your humble host, Josh Stewart. And today we have the now reigning champ of all of podcast episodes, the man who needs absolutely no introduction, but we give him one anyway because we appreciate the shit out of him. Our tech guy, the guy who brings everything around, Nerdy Noah Reeds himself. Noah,
hey, oh shucks.
How you doing, my dude?
Thank you. I'm so pumped to be back. We have a lot to get through today.
Yeah, we do.
Some of our favorite content. I'm excited for part 2, and I'm very excited to have taken the crown.
Yeah,
as
you've
of right now.
Taking the crown. Dude, the part 2.
Yeah, but I talked to Tom and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm anxious to get back over there." So
he'll break in any day now.
It's a race.
And it's getting. This might be the longest span of time that we haven't seen him on the show.
Yeah,
honestly.
I know. He's getting his he's working on his skills and his tools because he has to respond to your upgraded security.
I'm telling you, dude. I thought it was weird that he bought a locksmithing kit, but
I know. I was like, dude. He was like, he brought it over to my house the other night. I was like, dude, look at this cool shit. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he took a +2 in dexterity. I'm not really quite sure.
Just showed up at my house.
Yeah. He broke into your house too? That's crazy.
I'm like in bed, and suddenly the chair next to me, dude.
He's like, no, I don't know if you're sleeping or not, but I have something to tell you. You're like, whoa, Tom. Yeah, my dude, how you doing? Welcome back. We're gonna absolutely dive into part 2.
Yeah.
We're oddly enough, part 2 still begins at the end of Act 1.
Sure does.
Now I went. We're playing Baldur's Gate 3 on Twitch, on our Twitch stream, and we are blasting through that. We are doing amazing so far, oddly enough. But it did spark something that I feel like we almost forgot to talk about last time that I'm super, super excited to talk about this time. And those are the hidden bonuses and items and stuff that you can find throughout the game in certain situations. And I'm curious, Noah, how many of these did you find in your playthrough, if you were to guess?
If I did, it was probably by accident. Quick recap for anybody from last week. I'm a very casual gamer. I talk about video games probably more than I play them. So I definitely enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3 for the narrative focus. So played on casual, played, kind of pushed the story mission points probably more. Didn't explore quite as much. I will say in Act 1, I feel like I definitely was a little bit more explorative. And then once we got into the further acts, I kind of just like was so enthralled by what was going on. I just wanted to see what was happening next.
Yeah, I do remember.
So I couldn't say for sure.
Like
yeah, exactly. Because we were kind of even for a while. And then I got into Act 2. And then I was like nearing the end of Act 2 by the time you were starting it. So that we kind of got so I might have found some of these, maybe one or two, but I doubt that I hit a whole bunch of them. Maybe I'll be surprised. What are some of the ones that are coming to mind for you?
Well, so one of these items that is found in Act 1 that I found, I can't even say I found it. I came across it on TikTok one day after I had already played my second playthrough.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. And there is
TikTok coming in for the assist.
That's what I'm saying. So in Act 1, after you go to the rundown town over where you find Scratch, there is a bunch of goblins basically pestering a drow gnome, and he's got him attached to a windmill, right? And it's going around and around and around and stuff.
Oh yes, I do remember this. Yep.
There is a wall. If you go around the town and through the outside gates, and you head back in the direction where the windmill is, it seems like there's nothing there. And I have walked past it a bunch of times, just trying to make sure I found as much things as I could possibly find. And there is a hole in the ground. If you investigate this hole, there is a book, and inside that book is a bottle of wine. Doesn't seem like anything. Doesn't seem like a very useful item. Hey, you found a book. You can sell it at a merchant's, or you can take the wine and you can also sell that, or you can use it as camp supplies. It's super nice. It's just a little a little treat. Like, hey, you found the hole. You found this thing, right? Somebody had the absolute brilliant idea of using, when you open something in your menu, it gives you a screen where you can check out your inventory. And you can move things over and, vice versa. Yeah. Somebody came up with the brilliant idea of taking this book that had the wine bottle in it and putting all of your spells in it. So you basically create a spell book. Wow. And I was honestly like, this is exactly what I feel like I need. This is the whole time I was playing my first playthrough, my second playthrough, I was wondering, like, I just had all my spells, like, absolutely blocking up all of my my inventory. And so, like, sometimes, like, at one point I think I'd put them in like a bag or something and just left the bag at the top of my inventory. But to be able to have a book that I just solely put my scrolls in was it was so nice, because then I didn't have to remember which bag it had those items in. Didn't have to, like, it wasn't I didn't have to spend the time searching around. It was perfect.
And this is the only book that really does that, and they didn't even tell you.
As far as I have played in the multiple playthroughs of this game, that is the only book with an item in it that you can put things in.
Wow.
Which is actually kind of funny, because it is a book. You can put any item in it. Like, you could take the book and store all your weapons in it, just for funny, haha moments and stuff. But I was like, this is the most appropriate thing. It's a book that I can put all my scrolls in. It's perfect.
Wow,
it's so fantastic.
That's amazing. Yeah, because that just fits. That's so nice roleplay wise. You got a spell book now.
Exactly. It's so
that's
nice.
awesome.
And
it's like a ring binder. Put all your scrolls, poke the 3 holes, slot them right in.
Absolutely. See, I love. So how organized did you keep your inventory?
Absolute utter trash. Nope. Terrible. Yep. Again, this is me. I'm just like, what's happening next? Oh, inventory. Throw it in.
Yep.
And then having to spend 5 minutes trying to find that one little thing. Or it's real bad. I did try to, like, get rid of stuff and sell stuff that I wasn't using pretty quick.
Yeah.
So that I could keep my money up just in case.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't keep a ton of stuff, but also, like, I did not organize very well at all.
So then I take it you did not do the Astarian pickpocketing trick.
No.
Do you know what the
I hardly use the Astarian at all. I know that's terrible.
Really?
Yep. He rarely is in my party.
Oh, yep. I'm going to send you a build that is going to absolutely change that.
Yeah.
You will play this through again and be like, I don't know why I never used, or why I used any other character. Like, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty basic. It's a Gloomstalker build, but it's just the way that it's built is woo.
I liked using him in, like, for getting inside of stuff and unlocking doors and things like that. But when it came to combat, I wasn't getting a lot out of him, and so it just felt like, and when you're just kind of like muscling through, again, I couldn't. This is why, again, I'd love a mod where you can kind of set a few things, and then the NPCs kind of just level up themselves and make their own moves in combat. I would love to try a playthrough like that. That would be fun for me.
Yeah,
Very Mass
it's
Effect
funny.
style.
It's funny you say that, because I think I found your solution to that mod. and that's that
Yeah.
you just need 3 other friends to play the game with you.
I know. That's right. I just want to play multiplayer and just do my
Yeah.
own thing.
I love
Exactly.
it.
But
No,
yeah,
you
no,
crack me up, dude.
I definitely would love to use Astarion more in future playthroughs because
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah,
I missed out on a
you
lot of good stuff from him.
I'll send you my my Gloomstalker build. Crazy enough, you start with Astarion being a rogue, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and then you immediately abandon the rogue, and you just go like straight, like I think it's like 9 levels in Ranger.
Wow.
And then once you hit that, I think at level 10, you just do the last 3 levels, or no, at 9, because then you take 10, 11, and 12 back into back into rogue, and that
Mm-hmm.
pretty much like it gives you like an extra attack, and so it's nice, or the extra bonus attack or whatever it is. So but by the end of the game, by level 12, you're over here, like you get the because Astarion's initiative is so high, you get like a first shot plus bonus damage like right off the bat, and then you get to use your normal action, and then you can use your bonus action, and then if you built it correctly, then you get like an additional bonus action. So like in one turn, in like the very first turn of combat, you should be able to fire, because you're rocking 2 hand crossbows, so you should be able to fire like basically like 4 shots before
Wow.
the end of your turn, and then if you haste, you get like 5, almost 6 shots per like round on the
Wow.
first round, and then like 4
Mm-hmm.
shots on your second and third round. So it is really nice, especially if you start taking those like the different kind of arrows and bolts and stuff, like ones that do like fire damage and force damage and all that stuff, so you can really like stack those things up. So it's a pretty lethal build, and I love it so much. But I've also changed my very first playthrough all the way through. I played every character all the way to like 12 in their original class. Like I did not multi-class whatsoever, and
Yeah.
and I stuck to exactly what the story was asking. On my
Mm-hmm.
second playthrough, that's when I started, tampering with, or messing around with the multi-class, and then now I'm just like, I know what builds I want. I know these things that I want. It doesn't matter. I'll change your class. Like I'm
Yeah.
just looking to be just an absolute powerhouse going through the game,
Yeah.
But that's
Totally.
I enjoy that. I like
Oh, yeah.
basically just I like trying to hit like God mode,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do just an insane amount of damage. There's people right now who are doing the next bit of challenge because apparently honor mode wasn't hard enough. People are now going through the entire game. I just came across this guy the other day on a live on TikTok, who was doing a single solo playthrough, no long rests, no no saves, no save scumming, no restarts, no extra, like basically all the things that would like mechanically keep you completely healthy and stuff. So which means
Mm-hmm.
like all of his builds, or his single main character build, can't have things that need to be replenished on long rests or short rests and stuff. Like it's pretty
Wow.
nuts. Yeah.
No
It's really
companions,
cool.
just completely
No
by
companions,
himself.
completely solo all the way. And when I came into this live, he was rocking through the House of Hope, that's like some end game stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, so you clearly went through from level 1 through,
Wow.
part 1, part 2, and then you're in end game, completely soloing this without any extra stuff. So I'm pretty curious. I want to go back and like check out some of the older stuff, see what his like full actual build is and everything, and
Yeah, yeah.
maybe just see how it plays in like one of my games, So it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I could see you trying to do something like that. Maybe not quite as hardcore, but like
No.
at least the solo part, no companions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see you doing well with that.
Well, since I'm getting back into Baldur's Gate 3, my next challenge is I'm going to take on honor mode.
Yeah.
But I've been putting it off because I wanted to make sure that like I have a notebook that I've been like messing around with multi-class ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I get something that I really, really like, or like an item that works really, really well with this build, like I write it down on my notes. And so I have like everything all like listed and ready to go. So now when I'm playing on stream, if you want to see those builds, come hang out on stream, because I'm going directly off of my notes. So I don't,
Nice.
I'm just going like as soon as we hit
nerd.
Yeah. You loser. What are you taking notes in games?
Taking notes? God damn.
Yeah, what are we in school? Huh? Idiot.
That sounds in all honesty, that's fucking awesome, dude.
It's
I mean, like,
it's a lot of work, Noah. Jeez. But yeah, it's fun. I like it. It's like this. It's like that part where I'm just like I love this so much that I just want to. Like, I think at this point I've tried almost every class except for sorcerer, warlock, and wizard, and I have not played through the game as any of one like the origin characters. Which brings us up to another point in today's discussion. There are apparently hidden things in the game that can only be accessed by main charactering one of the origin characters that I did not know. One
Damn.
I literally learned today when I was getting out of bed, just scrolling through TikTok.
Wow.
Which was kind of cool, because I love that I can play this game. This game has been out for a year. Like, you can play this game a bunch of times and still people are discovering new things about this game. Like things that have been put in the game since development, and we're only just discovering it. You know? That and the mods are coming to September, which is right around the corner. About like a little over a month away. So
hell yeah.
This is going to be really cool. But the one I learned today was that if you play as your main character as Gale, as you go through Act 2, there are certain like enemies or like, NPCs that you basically have to defeat. They're not quite bosses, but like, there's just like story things that we'll go over. But as they die, you can absorb their wave. And then kind of like grow in strength and your backstory and all that stuff with that, and then eventually become like a god. It's very, very cool. Also, I should very much preface this now that we're getting into this, and I'm sorry if you've made it almost 20 minutes into the episode before I've said this, but I'm sure I will put it in the title of this and the description. We are going over Act 2 and Act 3. This is very spoiler heavy. Yeah. We will be revealing a lot of spoilers today. So I do not ever like to suggest not listening to the episode, but if you have any desire to play Baldur's Gate 3, skip this one. Just play it on mute.
Give us the listen, but don't actually. Yeah,
just watch our faces and stuff. We'll be like, whoa, So, let's get into the story of it. Your favorite part of the game itself. You take on the depending on which direction you choose to go, whether it be your like the good side, or quote unquote, or the dark urge, the evil run. You either kill everyone in the Druid's Grove, or you take the good path and you kill all the goblins. But after you're doing so, you take on, I don't remember if we completely talked about this last time, but Auntie Ethel.
We did. We discussed her a good bit.
Okay,
how
good.
I messed it up really bad.
Okay.
So after, sore spot. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah. Hey, I got you, nerd.
Real friend. Real friend right here.
So we take on Auntie Ethel, and then you also have the Githyanki camp, or the Githyanki interaction, I guess, where there's a moment.
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Yes,
Yeah, I was
think
just
this
gonna
is.
say when you get close to it, close to the burning town, you'll then be met with a cutscene where you'll see a giant adult red dragon.
Yeah.
And so if you follow that with Lae'zel, you make your way over and you will have a conversation with the Kithrak,
Mhm.
And basically the Githyanki, where if you're not, if you don't know what they are by now, they're basically just space elves.
Mhm.
And but they follow a it's their queen.
Like a matriarch, yeah.
Yes, and so she's very, very, very powerful, very, very strong, and basically all of the Githyanki, basically, you either bow to her and accept her, or you fear her because she will, murder you. But the people that you interact with do not agree that Lae'zel should be allowed to go to the Crèche, which is their like home base, or the base that they're using at the moment, to basically get the parasite out of your brain. And so they choose instead to eliminate her, which then triggers a big fight. One of my favorite things while during this is I start the fight and then I call in the 3 ogres that we talked about back in part 1, because the ogres have a very cool item on, or one of them has a really cool item in his brain, which I think is really, really funny because it's actually the same item and concept that you used during one of our D&D one-shots.
It did. Yeah.
This is
Oh yeah, the intelligence thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just basically are like, you send him in there to die so you can loot
Yep.
their.
I sent him in there to take as much damage and to deal as much damage, so that either one of 2 things happens. That the ogres kill all of the Githyanki, and then all I have to do is just fight the remaining ogres, or the Githyanki kill all the ogres, I then can loot the items off of them, and now there's only just weakened, already damaged Githyanki to fight. So it's a win-win situation to me, and I can go into it at full health. So it's a strategy that I've stuck with, and it's a good way to get that item. And then that item just goes to whoever I need to, boost intelligence. For those who don't know or unaware of it, this one is not an item that just boosts a +2 or a +1 to your intelligence. No matter what your intelligence score is, it boosts it all the way to 18. Which is really, really nice, especially if you want to dump a bunch of points into other attributes and then like absolutely plunge your intelligence and then put this item on. And now you just have a plethora of points, which is really, really nice.
Amazing. Yeah. I did not get this fight because when I got to the Githyanki, the game told me basically, you guys are little babies and you will die. So you need to walk away. Yeah. And so I did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's they're definitely it is a tough fight. Weirdly enough, I was doing so well on my first playthrough that when I got the horn to use to call the ogres, I finally started like really struggling and needed to call them for like aid in Act 3, which then it told me that they were way too far away and that I couldn't use it. So when I looked it up to find out that if you're going to use the ogre horn, it has to be in Act 1.
Wow. Oh, that stinks. You're like, haha, it's time.
Yep. Yeah. No, dude,
they're like a month behind you. I mean, they'll get here, but it's
Yeah, you'll probably most likely you'll be dead by the time they get there. So, but yeah, so
damn, that must have been a letdown. My God, you were like,
it was
finally,
such a bummer. It was such a bummer.
I have a plan for this.
I tried looking, like I didn't look anything up for like my first playthrough. And so it was just like this like moment where I was like, oh, that would have been actually something I wish I would have known, because I would have used it so much earlier, you know?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I looked up the horn as to why I couldn't use it in Act 3 was when I learned that the ogres had the intelligence like crown. And I'm like, well,
Wow.
shit, you know, this has been really nice to have used, you know?
That's so funny because in our one shot, I played a half orc that had a crown of intelligence embedded into his head.
Which, let's preface, was before the game was released.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. This was pre Baldurs Gate 3.
Yeah.
I just thought of it myself.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Which I feel like only solidifies
that guy
how
was
good
a
of an idea that
fucking
was.
tank. That one shot was hooey. That was good. And that character, one of my favorites I've ever played.
Yeah, that was good. I love that. I love that one shot. That was a fun one shot.
Hell yeah, it was. Even though you were playing with two noobs who couldn't figure out your clues.
I mean, you guys did
pretty well. In the end, you had to just basically say, "Would you like to know what all of this was?" We were like, "It was hella fun, but we don't know." And you're like,
"Yeah." Well,
I liked that
issue.
though. I liked the explanation at the end. It really added it for me because it just felt like, "What the hell are we doing? What's going on?"
Yeah.
So it worked really well.
I find myself doing that a lot. Like I feel like I get really invested in making these like real intense like stories and stuff, and then sometimes like I'm at the end and I'm like, did you get it? Did you like it? And you're like, it was fun, but I have no fucking idea why it happened. And I'm like, all right, yeah, no, that's probably that's my bad. Yeah. I'm like, you guys got 30 minutes for me to explain my idea.
No, it felt really good. It felt like it made sense for it to be chaotic and unknown.
Yeah.
While it was happening, I think that played into the suspense of it all. But, anyways, D&D, not BG3.
I mean, it's still in the same line. I like that like one shot. It was a lot of fun.
It was. It was good.
So, as we go from we've taken care of Auntie Ethel. We've gone and taken care of the Githyanki interaction. Then you have already, at this point, since you have killed the entire goblin, camp, you have saved the. We're gonna talk about the positive run, the good run, the hero run, we'll call it. And in the hero run, you save the druids. And so they will head back to your camp for a night of partying and stuff. And this is where a lot of like the romance options will start to, kind of like you kind of see that character development, your relationship development and stuff. It's very, very unique depending on who you've decided to, to romance and stuff. If you've romanced anybody at all. From this point on, you will have already met an individual named Halsin. Halsin is a very, very well known in the game druid, and he's also very, very strong and powerful until you get to use him as a player, because then he goes back down to level 1, and then you just have to try to remember or figure out how to use a druid. But as an NPC, he's very, very strong.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he basically tells you have two paths, two choices, and you can only choose one. But because we're all gamers, we chose both, and we decided to do both. So you can either go up the mountain, where you will be met with the Githyanki Crèche, which is where Lae'zel wants you to go. Because Lae'zel is trying to get to the Crèche to become, to be with, her people and stuff. Which I feel like people did not give Lae'zel enough credit until much later in the game's like time of being out. A lot of people thought that Lae'zel was kind of a hard ass or kind of like mean or stuck up kind of thing. And I kind of got the opposite like feeling, like, whereas I thought Lae'zel was definitely more like Lae'zel's very straightforward and very strong, but Lae'zel was scared. And I think that was like the the writers, excuse me, the writer's way of showing that, like, Lae'zel is scared and is looking for a solution or an answer, and I think it's kind of pushed under the layer of being such a hard ass, and being so direct, and sometimes most of the time being kind of like mean in a way. But at the same time, like, she's been abandoned by her people. She has a parasite in her head where her entire culture tells her that, once you're infested, like, that's it. You're going to die. And she has like ambitions. She has goals in life. And she doesn't want to die to this, damn parasite. And so she teams up with you because, like, you're the one that, like, she sees, as at least her best fighting chance to, like, team up and accomplish this,
Yeah.
I think Lae'zel's one of like her character development is probably one of my favorite most favorite in the game.
It's very cool.
It's
cool.
very, very good, and it's sad in a way, but it's also like empowering, enlightening. It's a path of redemption, but not redemption from someone else. It's redemption from her own, like, doubts and stuff. It's a fantastic, like, character development. Yeah. It's so good.
It's got such great depth.
Yeah.
Her story was one of the ones where I saw what was happening and I was like, I need this to happen this way, and I save scum the hell out of one of her interactions with one of her, because I'm like, I'm sorry, game, you don't know Lae'zel like I do. She needs to. This is the decision. I know her. This is what she wants. And it was so meaningful to me when we got through there. And she made the decisions she did.
I think I texted you at one point and said like that I was getting annoyed because Lae'zel, even though we've seen everything all the way to the end of the game, Lae'zel still wants to be like a servant of the queen. And you, I think you had responded back and you were like, what are you talking about? Like, she abandoned that, like, almost immediately. And I was like, how the hell did you get her to abandon stuff? And then it turns out it's just, you had better roles than I did. I didn't realize that, like, a decision being made in Act 1 was going to affect so much in Act 3, which is something.
Well, I don't know if this is the case, part of it, because I have not done the Githyanki crash at all.
At all?
No. I went through the Underdark.
Wow, you missed one of the coolest weapons.
Yeah, I know. I went through the Underdark. I found the entrance to the mountain pass and walked up to the door of the creche, and then I was like, I wanna see what happens with the story. And I know that this doesn't like take me to Act 3, so I turned around and went back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I did. That's what I did. Well, because the game kept telling me you go one of two ways.
Yeah.
So I went one way, and I felt like for my character, I kind of wanted to push the story forward, but also I just felt like for my character, the way we were playing, we were not fucking with the Githyanki at all. Like, we just weren't. Like, we knew that and it just felt like we wouldn't do this just to do it. And so that's the thing, because I'm not that gamer mindset, like, oh, I got 100%, I got to see everything. And so my intention was, this is a next playthrough thing. This is what I'm going to do the next playthrough. So I do have another playthrough, and that is my plan to go in there. And to be fair, I've read a lot about it. I know kind of a lot of what's going on in there, but I did not actually do it in my playthrough. Yeah.
Well,
it is naughty.
Yeah, naughty. It is a cool weapon.
Yeah.
That so
I did hear about the weapon. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I heard about the weapon.
When you go into the creche,
isn't it like a university or something, like a magic school or something that they've invaded, or something like that, or a monastery?
It was a house of worship.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a church, but for monks and stuff.
Probably another reason why I didn't want to go in.
Yeah, well now, yeah. Which I thought was kind of cool because like there's all the classes that you get to play as. Monk is not a class that you ever really run into until you're fighting the Gaith.
Yeah, they're all monks. Or a lot of them are monks.
Yeah, there a whole bunch of them are. And it was kind of cool just because like I was going through it and I was like, wow, there's a lot of classes that we're just skipping on, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a lot of classes that unless you really explore as you're leveling up, you'll never come across. For example, I have, now that I've played the game a couple of times, I'm very happy with your favorite character, Shadowheart's like whole story thing. I've given up on just keeping Shadowheart as she remains in the very beginning of the game, and following that, I've completely scrapped it, respect her, and now she is she's basically a storm cleric, and so she has like create water, which I will basically just dump a massive cloud of rain on a bunch of enemies, and then I will run into that fight so that when they attack her, she gets a reaction to use her storm cleric ability, which would be basically to cause like electricity, and because everybody's all wet, it intensifies the damage, but it also hits all of them instead of one of them. So
God
basically
damn.
she just goes in there and she just like she Thors it, and
God
then
damn.
as we're going through, yeah, I gotta send you some of these builds. I think you're gonna have a blast on your next.
Well, I mean, keeping her
play.
as a cleric fits with her narrative stuff.
Yes,
just changing what kind she is. That's really cool.
It's
damn, that sounds amazing.
But there's also a lot of things in the game that, again, I found out on my like second or third playthrough that are hidden in the game that you can only access by electricity, which is not something that a lot of people have, and as like weapons and as abilities, or as power, or what do you call them, spells. So basically after talking to Halcyon, you're given two options: go into the Underdark, which is the safest path, or go through the mountain. I chose to go through the mountain, so I think it'd be really cool. We'll kind of split this one because all I've done is talk for the last like 30 minutes because I'm so excited about this game. I love this game so much. I think it'd be fun as much as you remember to tell us about the Underdark, and as much as I can remember, and I'll talk about the mountain pass. So who you want to, since I've been talking the last like half hour, you want to see what you got?
Yeah, I will talk about it. You can definitely join in and add details, because I'm sure there are details that I don't recall. But the Underdark is accessed through the Goblin Camp in Act 1. So you have to basically go into the leader's sleeping area when you kill her, and there's another enemy that you can or cannot have to engage with, but eventually you get back into this secret chamber, which if you learn how to unlock some doors or solve the puzzle, I think you can do it either way.
There are 4 total ways to get into the Underdark.
Yeah, and this is the way that I took.
Yeah.
So then you get down in there. And it is just like this big cavernous area that's kind of like bioluminescent. It's very cool.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah, there are a lot of little areas, little villages. There's these really interesting kind of fungus people. I forget what the name of that race is.
I don't remember, but they are very, very cool. They're basically just mushroom
very
people.
Cool. Yeah, mushroom people. Very neat. And there's some side quest work. There's some interesting things to find. And the big thing is that like some of the cults, this cult that you end up that has developed that is like worshiping.
Oh yeah.
This is what the goblins were kind of getting involved in. It's this big cult called the Cult of the Absolute. And
that one. I was thinking of the other one.
Oh,
The fish people one.
Oh yeah, there's the fish people cult. I was just talking about there were cultists kind of starting to like they had taken over the waters. They weren't letting
Yeah.
the people of the Underdark kind of do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And it you have to basically that's when you really start in earnest connecting with and taking out the cultists. But at the same time, you can also like you have to there's a lantern that you must have in order to progress through the full area of Act 2, at least at first. And you get it by working. The Underdark is a place where you can get it. There's a little side quest where this lady asks you to go help rescue her husband because he's harvesting something over in the. I fucking killed that guy. I fucked that up. Yep.
Yeah. No, honestly,
he's in
you're fine.
A minefield where the whole place explodes if you do something just a little wrong, and I did it wrong, and I've forgotten to save. So that was like, well, you're dead now.
I think the developers kind of expected everyone to almost always fail that little side quest because the backstory for the guy, he was an ass. He is a terrible person. Like he would like, if you go back to her and like talk to her and stuff and like really like dive deeper into, why they're there. And then eventually like, in Act 3 and stuff, and you meet them again, or you meet her again. You basically kind of find out that she married him because she thought she was in love. And then he developed a really, really bad drinking problem and would just come home and beat the shit out of her. And then and then he would like berate her and like basically like emotionally, mentally, and physically abuse her. And so then he basically has an accident and he loses his memory. And she's like, well, he's a piece of shit, but I could always use an extra set of hands. So as long as he doesn't remember that he's a giant piece of shit and that he thinks that I'm the one that's in control, I'm going to use his mindless husk to do the chores that I need him to do. And I'm going to get back at him for the rest of our lives because he's a piece of shit and now has no memory of it. And so he just is this like mindless like idiot that just kind of follows her around, and she is taking it out on him because of how he used to take it out on her. So like when people fail that little side quest, I think the game was like, don't feel bad, he was a piece of shit. Like
that's funny. Yeah, so I just remember fucking that up real bad. I'm like, I'm bad at video games.
It really lets you know when you mess it up too. Like the whole field explodes. Like it's not like, oh, the guy's dead. Like it's just like frame rates start dropping. Like things are getting way too, like everything on the screen is changing colors. And it's like you definitely know you messed up. Like it's not something you're gonna miss. Yeah.
Oh no, it's bad. A lot of times you can die too if you're standing in it. Like.
Oh, I always separate the party before I even attempt it now, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
It is ridiculous. It's so messed up.
So I remember then you eventually cross over the river and you're in like this mine area, and
yes.
That's where you have to basically I forget exactly what the details are what exactly you do to get up and out.
You're given a task by the mushroom people like leader. There's Glut, who basically was taken in or like given shelter by these guys, who is also I almost just had it. It was on the tip of my, are they Mycoloids? Myconids.
Oh yes.
These creatures, or these individuals, they basically give you a task where they're like, hey, there's an absolute member who like absolute cultist. No, he's not like an absolute member, he's an absolutist, and he's basically like causing distress and damages, and he's killing people.
Oh yes, it all comes back to me.
Right. So basically your task is to go find this guy and cut his head off and bring it back to him. And you'll get a reward, or you can give into the dark urge and then follow the drow,
Mm-hmm.
in which he'll tell you to go back and murder all the myconids or whatever they're called.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then you end up you have to basically, like, he gets trapped in one of the mines when you go to kill him, and so you have to assist, and then you end up fighting him.
Yeah. So did you
The cultist.
did you fight? So when you went to there and you freed him, there is a thing that happens to so many people on their playthroughs, and it happened to me, but I didn't look it up to see if it was supposed to be like this, and I glitched my way through the entire that entire location. And I was curious if you've
Really?
done. I don't know if we've actually talked about this before, like you and I.
No, I don't think so.
So there's a thing that happens where basically when you are crossing that river, or that whatever it is, and the second boat comes up and meets with you and stuff, you can like trade with them or you can fight them and all this stuff, right? So I ended up like failing one of my rolls. I got real sassy with the guy and I decided to fight him, and I killed every one of them on the boat. So when we got there, they like all of them were like questioning me like heavily, but I was already out of all my short rests. I desperately needed a long rest, and so we were heading back up to the where like the cave in is, and where you have to save the drow, and they told me like, hey, you need to get explosive powder and put it over here. So I'm looking through all my inventory. I'm like, I don't have explosive powder, but I do know where I've put it because I send all my stuff back to camp unless I need like, so I can save stuff and keep my inventory low. So I was like, I'll just run back to camp, grab it, and I'll come back. So I went back to camp and I was like, oh, I also am like super, super low. And if I free this guy and he tries to fight me, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, so I'll do a long rest and then I'll come back. So when I do my long rest and I come back like all refreshed, sorry, my camera and I have been having disagreements between the last couple of days. So I'll go blurry in and out and stuff. So the for those listening, it doesn't matter. Just don't worry about it. So I took a long rest. I went back. I grabbed the exploding powder, and then I went back. And when I came back, the entrance to that opening was gone. Every single person was dead. There was not a single NPC in that entire map. And I thought that's what was supposed to happen. So I just walked around. I pickpocketed, or I looted people. I went through like the chests that were there. I gathered what I needed, and then I made my way all the way through to where the golem is. And I didn't find out until my second playthrough that other people also took a long rest there, and the game counts it as you leaving the area, which means that the guy that you're supposed to save dies of the poison gas asphyxiation, and then everyone sees that as a loss, and so they murder all of the slaves and stuff. The slaves and stuff, yeah. So they murder all of them, and then they pack up and leave. So while you went to go take a nap, genocide happens, and then you show up to no one. And I'm like, God damn, that was avoidable. And by that time, I'm already way too into it. Like I'm way saves in. Like if I were to go back and fix it, I would have been like 8 hours to backtrack on, and I was like, not happening. No, not a chance. Dude.
Didn't happen to me. I had a hell of a time finding the smoke bombs because I didn't have any, so I had to go get them. But once I did, I was able to get him out, fight him. Everyone lives. It was pretty good. It went all right.
So during their entire playthrough, did you give in to the illithid powers?
A tiny bit, but not a ton. No.
Okay. I was just curious.
I didn't. A lot of them. Yeah, I know. I didn't really use them. But
on my Dark Urge run, man, I went full illithid. Oh,
nice.
Dude, my face was all blooded out, and like I had black oil streaks and stuff like going from my eyes and stuff. It was pretty gnarly, but I was I was very strong. Like,
I bet.
dude, those illithid powers are no joke. They are awesome, especially if you're doing like some psychic stuff. Like,
Yeah.
woof, it's so good.
Nice.
Let's see.
I look forward to seeing how all that goes because I am playing a Dark Urge playthrough. I have one.
Hell yeah, dude.
And that is the plan. So we're in the Shadowlands now, Act 2 proper? Is that what they're called?
Almost.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
So there is the there's the fish people. You can get your next hidden or your secret item or secret upgrade in the game, which is basically if you're doing a Dark Urge run and you go over to these like fish people who are worshiping basically a false Batal or the basically they're asking for a blood sacrifice, and what you should do is call him on his shit because he's just a red cap, which is a lower crit rating enemy in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
But if you see right through him and you strike a deal with him, you can give one of your own party members as a permanent blood sacrifice, and the rest of your entire party will gain a buff permanently for the rest of the game, but you will lose that character. And you know who the number one sacrificed character is?
Yeah.
Who is it? Who's your guess?
Shadowheart.
Oh, damn, brutal. Next best. Number one sacrificed companion is Gale.
That makes sense.
Which is crazy because
he's so annoying to have to take care of. He's like Gale a child, dude.
But
he whines.
Oh, baby, when you get Gale in Act 3,
yeah,
dude, higher level wizards are unstoppable.
Yeah,
they're still super squishy, but God, are they powerful?
Yeah,
like disgustingly powerful. Oh, also something we almost forgot. I forgot to bring this up last time. Before we enter Act 2, you stay in the camp in the beginning, and you go into. You can get a Quasit, which is a little animal that kind of hangs out with you. Does some really cool things, but you have to go through a couple obstacles to do so. But the most important thing is you get basically it's the Necronomicon. And this item is something that you have to put together throughout the entire game. So you get the first two parts in Act 1. One in the spider pit, you get the purple gem.
Yeah.
And you get the Necronomicon under the bar in the goblin town. Put those two things together with a high wizard like Gale. Gale can read it. Gives him a permanent buff. The farther that you read this book throughout the game, you get an insane ability, and it is so good. You basically have to sneak into the big wizard shop in Act 3 and get the book to be able to understand the Necronomicon. But if you do everything correctly and you allow Gale to read the Necronomicon, he gets a spell that he can use, I think, once per short rest or once per long rest. But basically, it allows him to summon up to, I think, 5 or 6. I think it might be 4 or 5. What are they called? Not gnolls, not goblins. They're like those weird, undead looking creature things. They look like humanized bats. You know what I'm talking about? I can't remember what they're called.
I don't.
But they're weirdly very strong, very agile, and they do a hell of a lot of damage when they all focus on one enemy, and they all act on their own turn, and they all act together, and they're their own consciousness. So the NPC takes care of it. You don't move them. So you just throw them into the battlefield, and then on their turn, they will go absolutely hog wild, and it is so powerful.
God
And
damn.
then the other spell you basically get is like Magic Missile, but if Magic Missile was cast at a 12th level like spell, like
Shit.
it is like a homing beacon of damage, and it always hits. It is
Wow.
so unbelievably good, which is why I think it's funny how people lose Gale throughout the whole game. And I'm like, no. We're saving him. Like, even in our stream game, people are like, murder Gale. And I'm like, no, because in Act 3, he's going to be a god. And I'm going to absolutely need that, you know?
Yeah.
But,
Gale is kidnapped in my Act 3 right now.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
So when you go to, I'm going to touch this one like super, super brief. The other option instead of going through the Underdark would be to go to the mountain pass through the Gaith Kresh. And in so you get a fun, beautiful, amazing item for Shadowheart called the Blood of Lathander. And this thing is a mace that radiates radiance, which is nice because it does a lot of radiant damage. But it also has a super, super cool ability where you can basically like hone in on the absolute power of the sun and send a beacon of damage in a straight line, and any enemy in that line takes a really good like hit. And so it's really, really good for sticky situations. It's really good for like a lot of enemies like clustered all up at one time. But other than that, you don't really need to be in that area unless you are trying to I would say probably unless you are playing as Lae'zel, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But let's I would say Act 1 is the is like the setup of the story, and Act 2 is the background of the story. So Act 2, oddly enough, not a whole lot of stuff going on. I think Act 2 we can hit really, really fast.
I mean the big pieces are what? There's the cultists. It's really you're dealing with the cult primarily that has sprung up, which is being led by this nasty old man who was doing it in order to he made some deal with darkness in order to for a family member to raise up his daughter.
Ketheric Thorm.
Yeah, he's a nasty motherfucker.
Ketheric Thorm basically makes a deal with death itself.
Yeah.
Or like the god of death. And kind of like embodies him. And it basically gives him eternal power. But to do that, he needs the Night Song. Which we then find out, again, huge spoilers. The Night Song is not a song. It is a person.
Yeah.
But what is super, super cool is that the Night Song is not only a person, the Night Song is a demigod. And that demigod is the daughter of Shadowheart's rival patron. Which is
that's a huge, massive things for Shadowheart's story through here.
Absolutely. And
I would say
this is the moment.
It takes a lot of the time in the Shadowlands is dealing with Shadowheart's shit.
I would say Act 2 is Shadowheart's arc.
Shadowheart in the Shadowlands.
Yep. Oh, that's perfect.
That's right.
But this is that's right. Shadowheart. This is the moment when Shadowheart kind of gets to a point where she is no longer sure, like positive, that Lady Shar is where she needs to be, following, and that there are now seeds of doubt in her mind because she is given an option. Now, this is a huge, huge moment for Shadowheart's character, because there is a very, very important decision that will choose the rest of the game for Shadowheart. And if you choose to convince Shadowheart that the best way possible to move forward will be to leave the Night Song alive Shadowheart gives up her ways with Lady Shar and goes to Lady Sunlight. I don't remember her name.
Salune?
Yeah. The Salunite stuff.
Yeah.
So then she becomes a daughter of Saloon. She will then do a complete makeover, change her hair color and her hairstyle.
She has not done that yet in my playthrough. I wonder if that's part of that glitch that happened. Because we're in Act 3 and she did not change her look, and I had her keep her alive too.
That's crazy.
Yeah, she cast off Lady Shar and she did not change her look.
Interesting. Maybe she's tricking you. Maybe she's not completely given up yet.
Yeah, it's all wrong. Yeah.
So with that, she will then enter Act 3 with a completely new outlook on life. Now, there is the opposite angle. Dark Urge, you give in. You tell Shadowheart that the only way that she will truly get Lady Shar's blessing is if she murders and takes out the Night Song. And if she does, she fully embraces the darkness. She gets an insanely awesome upgrade, like armor, weapon, like whole vibe. She becomes super dark and gothic. It is sick. And I will say, I loved it playing on my Dark Urge run. Loved like full blown Lady Shar Shadowheart. She's so strong, but she's just very brooding. But if you decided to romance Shadowheart up to this point, and it's completely over, because Lady Shar says that there's nothing that you can do besides what Lady Shar tells you to do, which means there is no happiness, there is no love, there you must shut everything out but Lady Shar. And it is very culty, but very, very strong. Other than
so
that,
she's weak and happier, or basically
strong
gives up herself, and is just this empty void for this goddess, and is super powerful.
Yeah. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of other things going. There's like some things you can explore. There's some very interesting weapons you can get. One of the most interesting that I discovered, there is the Toll Troll. You beat the Toll Troll, but the Toll Troll has a very specific weapon that does damage based on how much money the enemy has. So a lot of people have found a very funny way to take out bosses, which would be to take all of your money that you have, which like by Act 3 can be anywhere between 15 and 30,000 gold pieces. And I've seen videos where people take 30,000 gold pieces, put them on Astarion, have Astarion sneak up behind enemies and pickpocket putting 30,000 gold into the enemy's pocket, and then hitting them with this weapon and doing like 400 damage. It is so funny.
God damn.
To just watch.
That's hilarious.
It is such a funny thing.
I think I have that weapon probably.
Oh yeah.
I want to try that.
So, but besides that, the Act 2 is more of a story-based thing, which if you're going to play the game, I would suggest like just enjoy Act 2, really dive into it, pay attention, like listen, talk to everyone. It is very, very good. But
yeah, and there's by the end you do the big battle, and there's you get the big reveal of like what actually they're planning. And so you get that motivation to chase them into the city in Act 3 and finish this.
Which is our now first introduction to Ketheric Thorm. Then there is Orin, the daughter of Batal, and or the granddaughter of Batal, something like that. I don't know, great granddaughter, family bloodline of like some of like basically the god of murder. And then you also
god
get
of murder.
And then you also get the preppy dude, which I can't think of his name right
Gortash.
now. Gortash. I was going to call him Eric. I don't know why. We get Gortash.
Annoying motherfucker.
Yeah, that guy is two-faced. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
But all three are super, super cool characters. Um,
Yeah.
all bad guys.
Yeah.
uh,
Super,
but
super cool and bad.
yeah. So which then pushes us into Act 3. This is my
Hell yeah.
favorite act of the entire game.
And this is the one that I have not finished.
Yeah, I push so hard to get to
Just
Act
hurry up
3
and get
so
to the
that I
city.
can take care of I can just take my time and take care of the things I want to. One of the big things is that when you find your way over to the you can continue Shadow Heart's quest,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll find some amazing shop keeps and stuff there. Super super fun to explore. But this becomes then Astarion's basic like arc type of thing. And this whole time,
Mm-hmm.
Astarion has been by your side. He makes some sassy comments. He's here and there. He's just being a goofball. We love Astarion, but Astarion gets a mood change real fast as we start to enter, Baldur's Gate, and
Yeah.
it is a game changer because we have found so far that Astarion is a Dhampir, which is basically like a vampire spawn, but more
Mm-hmm.
elegant. Um, and his and Astarion's like blood brothers and sisters are still under um their like master's like curse and stuff. And as we
Mm-hmm.
find that Astarion has runes in infernal runes carved into his back. And as we progress through Astarion's um like quest line, we find that we are in Astarion's original stomping ground.
Mm.
And this is where honestly this broke my heart, man. This was such a hard one to go through just because I have such a love for Astarion,
Yeah.
and Astarion's like, character development and stuff. But you learn pretty quickly that Astarion's stay was not very enjoyable. He was
Mm.
beaten almost on the regular. He was sent out to bring in like victims that they would basically like. Astarion's understanding was that the master would drink the blood, and then they would die, and then they would just discard the body. What he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know is that I think it was like 3,000 or 10,000, city folk over the last like 300 years have all been caged
Mm.
underneath the city.
Oh my
And
God.
it is a point where you realize that Astarion had lured a lot of these people there, and Astarion
Mm-hmm.
just didn't know that they were there. And so now he's having to deal with the fact that like these people that he lured in, whether it be a love or a duty,
Mm-hmm.
have been living under the city for like 300 years, all so that his master can ascend to the ultimate form of a vampire, but he needs 10,000 souls sacrificed. And in order to do that, there also has to be sacrificed, individuals, which is where the runes are for on Astarion's back and all of his other brothers and sisters. So when you go to confront his master, you get into a pretty epic fight. And this fight
Mm.
kind of hits you at a pretty intense disadvantage because the fight begins with him taking Astarion back. And Astarion gets basically pulled up into one of the pedestals and is stuck there as the ritual begins. And what makes this
Wow.
fight so difficult is that you only have 3 full rounds, or maybe it's 5 full rounds before the master ascends. And if he ascends, Astarion is dead for the rest of the campaign. Like
Wow.
that is the last of Astarion. It's a hard fight. It is a hard fight, but damn is it fun and damn is it rewarding, because when you kill the master and you free Astarion, you have the next hardest decision to make. And that is that you give Astarion the power to have his revenge, or you can convince him that killing the master was enough, and that the way that he can repent would be to save and set free all the ones that he has lured in. Obviously, if you're taking the hero's path, you convince him to let everyone go, and doing so, he will remain as a vampire for eternity. Eventually will have to move into the Underdark, because sunlight will then actually hurt them.
Wow.
But if you decide to go full Dark Urge and you convince Astarion to do it, boy, does it get dark, and it gets so good, because he takes his revenge out on his master, holds him down, uses the parasite to see through your eyes, and carves that rune that is on his back onto his master's back, and then starts the ritual and kills all of his brothers and sisters and all 10,000 of the souls, and he ascends. And baby, ascended Astarion is damn near a god.
Wow.
Holy shit. The power that Astarion has in the Dark Urge run is disgusting. It is so much like it. You are unstoppable. I'll tell you what, easy mode should have just been called the Dark Urge, because the power you get in the Dark Urge is disgusting.
We've always said the dark people are always more powerful and more fun, because they don't care.
Wars, Lord
they
of the
can
Rings.
access anything they want. There's no morality, so it's just whatever I want, I take.
Dark
so why
side
wouldn't they be
always
more?
is
That's
stronger.
why. That's why when good wins, it's always like, even though they always do in our stories, it's like they really shouldn't, because
right, yeah,
they're pussies compared to these guys. It's insane. Like, these guys are willing to take the risks to take what they need for the power, and then when they get it, forget it.
It just goes to show that morality, like morals, are the real weakness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we all just need
stronger.
To forget that.
Give in to the urge.
Yeah, take what you want.
But we also then get to, in Act 3, we also get to take on Gortash, which is what our sweet love of the game, Karlach, has been trying to do since she escaped Avernus. And so absolutely destroying in that fight hits me for the second absolute tearful moment of the game. And again, Act 3 broke me, and I think it's why I love it so much. I think
maybe
a game
this
that
is
can
why
make
I'm afraid to play further, because I'm worried about the emotional toll.
Oh, get ready. You'll need a box of tissues, because it is when Karlach realizes that she's not going to survive, and she looks at you and breaks down. Like, she looks at your character, but she almost looks into the camera.
Yeah.
Looks at you as a player.
Yeah.
And says, like, I want to live, and I'm not ready to die. I'm not ready. Like, my time isn't done. I don't want to be done. I want to live.
Yeah.
I want to feel the sun. I want to, feel the wind. I want to go for a swim. I want to, hug. I want to love. I want to drink and be merry. And then breaking down and accepting that death is inevitable, but sooner than it is for everyone else. And they made a song for the game. I believe the song is called "I Want to Live," and fuck off. That is the saddest goddamn song I have ever heard, ever. Like, that is like it makes Seal look like a pop band. because shit, man.
Oh man, yeah.
Kiss of a
God
rose,
damn.
fuck off. All right.
Yeah.
I want to live. If you don't shed a tear to I want to live, then you're dead inside, and I can't, because it is so heart wrenching, just like
Yeah.
knowing Karlach, and honestly, Karlach is a story about someone who is dealing with let's say like an incurable disease, or like
Mm-hmm.
um like you're going to die, and there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing you can do about it. And what I
Mm-hmm.
love so much about Karlach is that Karlach does this thing throughout the entire game where she'll say, like, stop feeling sorry for me, stop being sad for me, um be sad tomorrow, let me be
Mm.
happy today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
God damn.
fuck, man.
And that's where it's like this the main story of this game is great and is wonderful, but these character moments, these companion moments are like, this is what the game is truly about.
This is where the game destroys you, but it also, like, I give so much props to the writers of this game, because I love this game not because the mechanics are fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love this game because this story is so good.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. It is
Yeah.
so complex yet simple. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's heart-wrenching. You know, there's moments where it makes you mad, it makes you sad, you laugh. Like, it is so amazing that they were able to tell a story that could make you feel something.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is just so rare. And so, like, there's games where I've played where, like, characters die, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't really feel like there was a reason for it. Like, but
like,
all right, let's
it.
keep, you're like, all right, well, that sucks. I guess we're not going to have that character anymore. But then, like, you play this game and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, Karlach is going to die, and there's nothing that you're going to let me do about it. And it is, and I think, like, there is no ending. There is one ending. Sorry, there's two endings where Karlach survives. If you don't get one of those two, Karlach dies. That is it.
And even those two endings are not, they're not perfect. Like, she's alive, but at great cost in both ways. It is at great cost, and it is not. It doesn't feel great either way.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you've stuck around this long, but you still don't want to know about Karlach, skip ahead. Spoiler here. The one of the two endings where she survives is that she basically is burning up and is going to explode at the very end of the game, and Will uses the last of his abilities with his contract with Mizora.
Yeah.
And opens a portal back to hell and jumps through with her, or your main character will do it, depending on your roles and your character decisions. But either way, she goes back to hell, where her infernal engine heart kind of cools down because it's hot as shit in there. That is one of the only ones where she stays as Karlach, but she's back in Avernus, which means everybody in Avernus is now hunting her. And it is one of the most badass endings, because she lights up 2 cigars, hands one to you, puts one in her mouth, and she says, let's go get him, Tiger, or some shit like that, pulls out an axe or whatever weapon you have her equipped with, and you basically 80s freeze frame as you jump off a cliff into, like, a sea of enemies. And then it plays I Want to Live. And I'm like, listen, I like to be a tough guy. All right. I like to have the hard exterior. Motherfucker, I cried watching that ending. I'm in my living room by myself. Why? Why did you do it? Oh my God. It murdered my feelings. All right.
Yeah.
Option 2 is that at the very end of the game, you have a very important choice, and that is to let your your savior person, your guardian,
Which we
which
haven't
mentioned yet.
even touched on. It's this whole like subplot that ends up becoming a big piece at the end. But yeah, you have this like this little, yeah, it's a little bit much, but in a sense, it can transform people to become like them, and that's what Karlach can do. Is that right?
Yeah, well, your guardian has been lying to you. Well, not lying to you, but not being entirely 100% truthful to you through the entire game. Your guardian is an Illithid, which is the enemy of the game.
Yeah.
But they go by the name of the Emperor. And throughout the whole game, after you find out this, they basically try to convince you the whole time to turn into an Illithid, give in to the Illithid powers. At the end of the game, if you don't want to trust the Emperor, you can choose,
because he claims to be an Illithid but have his own mind,
right?
Correct?
Which is unheard of, because all the Illithid are controlled by the hive mind, which is a literal big giant brain in the sky. So if you can choose to either let yourself turn, or Karlach will say, "Hey, I'm dying. Let me be the hero of my story. Let me take the reins of this one. Let me transform, knowing that I saved everyone. Like in this shitty life that I have had, let me be the hero one last time." And if you do that, she does change. You do get the satisfaction of like, she does get to be the hero of her own thing. She does get to be the hero of her own story. She saves everybody. But the cost is everyone still sees her as an absolute monster and an enemy. So she has to flee by herself into the stars. And it is once again gone forever. You lose her. So I think what's beautiful about Karlach is that I think Karlach's whole story is just a metaphor for illness, like sickness, for like you're knowing that what's the damn name for it? What's the word I'm trying to think of? Something like when you have
terminal illness.
There we go. Bang. Thank you.
You were mentioning this.
I think her whole story is basically just a metaphor for terminal illness. Is accepting that you're alive today. Let's be, and I honestly, I think that's one of those quotes I'm going to listen to and probably say forever.
Yeah.
You know, be sad tomorrow. Let me be happy today.
God damn. Yep.
It is so powerful, and it is so amazing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It
sure is. Absolutely.
No,
insane.
This is my favorite goddamn game.
It sure is.
I love this game so much.
It's astounding. Yep.
And you know what I've learned is that we will now have spent 3 total hours talking about Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
And my friend, we have barely even touched it.
We just kind of did a quick little skip-scap over some favorite moments.
So let me ask you this as we kind of come to the end, because we've skipped so much, and you know what? And I've kind of thought throughout all of this, I don't want to give it all away. I don't want to give all the secrets away. I don't want to give all the things away.
And I feel like
if you've played the game before and you've beaten the game, I think you will appreciate, the part 1 episode and the part 2 episode. And I think you'll have an appreciation for, my passion for the game, your passion for the game, the passion for Dungeons and Dragons and its huge influence on Baldur's Gate 3. But I think as we come to the end of this episode, I want to ask, what is the most memorable or favorite, or just the moment of this game that stuck out to you the absolute most? Like what kept you playing this game?
I think for me, it's hard to put it down. First of all, because I haven't technically finished the entire game, so there are still some moments and scenes that I have not experienced myself, even though I know a lot about them. But I truly think that for me, the thing that brings me back to this game, the thing, and I've kind of said it before, but it's so true. This game just literally is what I look for in a video game, a game that has a story to tell, the game that gives you friends and friendship and romance, if you choose, and companionship while you take this journey. And I mean, I never played turn-based combat before. I would still say it's probably not my favorite, even though it's done the best that's ever been done in Baldur's Gate 3, in my personal opinion.
Absolutely.
But I'll play it, even though it might not be my exact taste, because of those companions, because of the stories being told, because of the fact that you are forging a path with people that you grow to trust and you grow to love. And that does something to me. That's why the Mass Effect trilogy is what it means, what it does to me. And that's why this game is right there. Because it's the same thing. It is that formula to me is the magic of video games. It is the pinnacle of video gaming for me, is that 100%. Type of narrative companion. Let's tell a story together. That is video games for me. Everything else is great, is fun, can be a lot of fun. This is it for me. This is the best. This is the peak in my mind.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I know that's me. I know other people, being able to connect with real people online and play against them and do all that. That means so much to them, and community with real people and all those things. And I do not discount that at all. But just for me and what I've been through in my life, this is the pinnacle for me. It's amazing.
Fantastic, Noah. Yeah, I no, I mean, genuinely, like this is what gaming is about.
Yeah.
These are the feelings. These are what I think industries need to be striving for.
Yeah.
I genuinely think Baldur's Gate 3 set a bar, set a standard, set a new limit, showed what you can really do when you are passionate about your work.
Yeah.
And you don't need to have super, super high paying or worth or valued like voice actors and voice actresses. The talent on the planet Earth is amazing. And there are people who don't know how to get into what they're trying to, like, their passions. There's people who want to be a voice actor who may not who may struggle with like dyslexia, or they may not be able to do accents, or maybe they can't they can't get inflections correct or something. But they have such raw talent. I think out of everything that I have seen, I have heard, the panels that I've seen, the conventions that you and I have gone to, the amount of video games I've played and stories that I've listened to and told, and I think that the world needs more quality like games such as Baldur's Gate 3. And I think if you're someone who wants to get into that field, do it and go hard. It's every path to success is going to be brutal. It's going to beat you down at some points, but like if that means that you get out there one day to be able to create the voices or the programs or the coding or the design or the artwork or whatever of games such as Baldur's Gate 3, and you can create absolute masterpieces like this, so that a lowly little person standing on this earth, like such as myself, can sit down and play a game like Baldur's Gate 3 and it truly, truly touches me, you've nailed it.
Yeah.
You know, it's so amazing.
Yeah. I think this is where this medium of video gaming, it's so in the wider culture and society, people just don't understand the depth that it can bring and the types of feelings that it can have, these deep, mature, real feelings about life and about experience and about connection and about love. And like, you know, call it what you want. You can call it a nerdy thing all you want, and it is, but it also is, it's real, and it talks about real things. And, you know, this is where it's like, man, if this was a movie, it'd be critically acclaimed. If this was a book, it'd be a New York Times bestseller. It is a bestseller as a video game too, but you know, it's just
it has won so many awards. Like it
belongs
incredible.
It belongs in the same. It should be respected at that same level, and for many of us, it is. But I just feel like we're getting there, and I think we're getting further, and it's becoming more widely accepted and more widely respected.
Yeah.
And I think as games like this continue to push that envelope and continue to take those big risks and tell those stories, I think we're going to find that more and more it becomes, I mean, it is the most lucrative form of entertainment that exists already.
Absolutely.
I just hope that we can get to where people understand that this has a lot of depth. This has a lot of really good stuff that it wants to give to the world. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? To all the viewers, to watching, listening, what have you.
Yeah.
If you love Baldur's Gate 3, reach out.
Yeah.
Send me a message. Get in the Discord. Or you know, throw a message down below underneath the you know, for the video, for the episode and stuff. Tell me, you know, something that you truly enjoyed about Baldur's Gate 3 that we didn't talk about in part 1 or part 2. And I know we skipped a lot. There's something that it's something to be said about being able to fit an entire game in a 3-hour conversation and barely even scratch the surface. Talks about the absolute like insanity of the size of this game. But you know, I would love to hear about people's favorite builds, wacky builds, funny moments. Tell me what your favorite, you know, bit about Baldur's Gate 3 is, because I genuinely want to know. I want to know like why, like what is it about Baldur's Gate 3 that brings you back over and over and over again? I want to know. I want to talk about it. I want to hear
those
about
obscure conversations, those strange areas that you happened into and discovered something.
100%.
The weird people that you meet along the way.
Yeah.
What animal did you randomly talk to that said some strange ass thing to you? Like, please let us know.
I want to know. I want to hear about it all. And I want to see if somebody can stump me, because I love this game so much. I've played it so many times and I've read so many things about it. I want to see if somebody can tell me something that I did not know that I could do in this game.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, and I'll be completely honest. I'll be completely honest with you. I'll let you know if I've heard of it or not. But if you can tell me something in this game that I did not know already, I'll shout it out on here and I'll admit to not knowing, because I would love to know. I would love to know, honestly, truly. But that being said, we're gonna wrap up. We have one more D&D episode to wrap up the TTRPG Dungeons and Dragons Nerd Quest month, and I am so unbelievably excited for everyone to you know, meet back up with us next week. But for this week, Noah, you're incredible. I love having you on here. I love talking to you. You're an amazing friend. This is an incredible thing. I'm so happy that I get to experience this with you. Where can we find the tech guy of the show, hand gestures.
Well, man, it's always such a blast to be here. Such a blast to just like kind of have the talks that we have in real life and just do it here and give people a little. This is you get a little window into what is just a truly amazing, awesome friendship between me and Josh. We're really buddies. I really think we're buddies for life. And
well, what's funny is we talk like this
lucky
anyway.
For you. Exactly. This is just how we are.
We're just recording it now.
Yeah, we go all over the place. We get deep randomly. We come out. We talk about stupid shit and literal shit sometimes even. And we just go. But that's that's what friendship is. So and that's why I'm on this journey with Josh. I help him out as much as I can. He gives me too much credit though. He's got this in hand pretty well. He'd be just fine without me. But you can find me over on Nerdy Noah Reads.
Take a vacation. Watch this whole thing burn.
I upload occasionally, talking about different news releases in the D&D space. I do not keep up with it as it comes out. I do have 2 kids and a full-time job, so I can't. But I do. If something really piques my interest and I want to talk about it, I put it out there. So you can find me there on the YouTube. And then, I'm here sometimes. And then I'm also, I hang out in the live streams as much as I can. Mr. Fat Viking, if you ever see me chatting in the chat, that's me. So feel free to say hello.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. You're incredible. Once again, TikTok and YouTube, Nerdy Noah Reads. It's so good.
Thank you.
I look forward to every time you let me know that there's a new video coming out, dude. It's the moment that I get like free time, I'm like, boom, this is where it's at. The kids are like, I'm hungry, and I'm like, get out of the way. I got a YouTube video to watch. Hey, if you like the show, you like what you see, what's up? How you doing? Come find us out anywhere you find podcasts. Who What Now Who What Now Gaming. You can also find us on YouTube at Who What Now Gaming. Also, yes.
Who What Now Pod?
I've said it.
Who What Now Gaming on YouTube. You're right.
Bingo.
Yep.
I've said it so many times I started to trip myself up again. And then you can also find little clips, snippets from our Twitch streams and from the episodes and future and past episodes that are coming out or have come out on the TikToks at Who What Now Pod. You can also find my lovely self at Phoenix Stewart on Instagram. You can find the show at Who What Now Pod on Instagram. And you can also find me Twitch streaming. Having fun, laughing,
super
playing.
fun.
We are working our way through Baldurs Gate 3 actually right now, which is kind of what sparked all of this. And it is so fun. Here's the twist though. If you show up to Twitch at twitch.tv Phoenix Stewart, PhoenixStwrt. I will throw a link in the description below. But if you show up to the Twitch stream, drop a follow so you can always get catch me live and stuff. And jump in the chat. We have an amazing community who have done such an amazing job creating such a safe space for everyone, and such an amazing set of conversations. A lot of times people are giving me a lot of shit on my video game skills, which is honestly jokes on them. I enjoy it more than they do. But the twist of the Baldurs Gate 3 run is that if you are in chat and I ask a question, what do we do? And you are first to answer, that is what we're doing in our game. That is the choice we will make. It can either make it or break it. We are not doing save scumming. Whatever the dice say, go.
And it's Dark Urge, right? That was the first choice you gave, and they chose Dark Urge.
Yep. So we're doing a Dark Urge, but we're trying to be nice. We're Dark Urge, but we're trying to be good.
So that's
the challenge. So it is a lot of fun. I have a great time. I enjoyed talking to every single person that jumps in the chat.
Yeah, we have a lot of great conversations. Please come in and talk when you come in if you feel like it. Lurkers are always welcome, but
absolutely, lurk away.
It's a great place to chat. We'll talk about just about anything. So
Mondays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for 2 hours. I do a Just Chatting stream. And every Saturday from 7 p.m. to midnight, we play Baldurs Gate 3. And every Sunday from 9 p.m. to midnight, we are now also playing Baldur's Gate 3, chatting, having a good time, goofing around.
It's
I
a
don't
good
think
place
he's in
to
the
be.
room right now, but we have the cat that shows up every so often, and you get to see the cat. So,
Oh
like I
yeah.
said, check us out, find us, see the links below, and as always, all to everyone who watches this and sees this or whatever, thank you so much for the support. We appreciate everything. And go outside, look up at the sky, feel the sun on your face, hug a tree, high five a squirrel, and as always, we'll catch you on the next one.